Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading an Arlecchino Listener by me, so let's get into it. The warm light of the afternoon filtered through the windows of the house as the children played nearby. Their laughter echoed in the hall. The older ones were working on a mission, and there was a comforting backdrop to what should have been a peaceful moment. Instead, the air between you and Arlecchino was charged with tension. "You had no right to go behind my back like that," Arlecchino said, her voice low and tightly controlled. The kind of tone that carried a warning, a storm that was brewing, just beneath the surface. "I was only trying to help," you countered, your voice rising slightly despite your best efforts to stay calm, and it was very visible how frustrated you were. "The kids needed supplies, and you weren't here. I didn't think I needed your explicit permission for everything." Her crimson eyes narrowed, and the flicker of disappointment there hurt more than you wanted to admit. "You didn't think, and that's the problem," she echoed coldly, and your fists clenched at your sides. "It's not like I endangered anyone, Arlecchino. I handled it." "That's not the point," she snapped, and you could tell just how angry she was, despite how calm she was trying to be. The children nearby grew quiet, their attention now drawn to the escalating argument. You saw them glance over, concern and confusion on their faces. "Then what is the point? That I'm just supposed to sit here and wait for you to make every single decision? I can take care of some things as well." You pressed, your frustration bubbling over and your voice rising, and Arlecchino's hand moved before you could process what was happening. The sound of the slap echoed sharply in the room, silencing even the faintest noise from the children. Your cheeks stung, and your head snapped to the side. A shock coursed through you. For a moment, the entire room stood still. The children stared, wide-eyed and frozen, their playful innocence shattered by the sudden violence. Arlecchino's eyes widened slightly as she realized what she had done. Her hand hovered midair before dropping to her side, trembling faintly. She began, but no words could follow. You stepped back, your hand coming up to touch your cheek. The hurt wasn't just physical, it was deeper, cutting into the trust and respect you thought the two of you had built. "In front of them?" you whispered, your voice breaking. "Arlecchino, how could you?" She opened her mouth to respond, but no excuse would undo the damage. The children, sensing the weight of the moment, began to retreat into the corners of the room. Their earlier laughter and noise and chatter now a distant memory. "I need a moment," you said, turning sharply and walking toward the door, your vision blurred with unshed tears. You could feel Arlecchino's gaze burning into your back, but she didn't call after you. The weight of what had just happened was too heavy for either of you to lift in that moment. It was nearly an hour later when she found you sitting outside the oak tree. The sky had darkened, and the chirping of crickets filled the air. You didn't look at her as she approached, and she stopped a few feet away, hesitating for the first time since you'd met her. "I'm sorry. I lost control," she said, her voice quieter than you've ever heard it. You didn't respond immediately, staring at the ground as you turned her words over in your mind. "I was only trying to help. I didn't deserve that, especially not in front of them," you said, your voice trembling. I know. I was wrong. And it wasn't about you. It was about my failure to communicate. I took that out on you. And for that, I'm sorry. You glanced up at her, searching her face for sincerity. Her usual stoic mask was gone, replaced by an expression of genuine regret. The kids look up to you. What do you think they'll feel now? Her shoulders sagged slightly, and she knelt in front of you, her gaze level with yours. I'll speak to them. I'll explain as best as I can. But first, I need to make things right. You swallowed the lump in your throat, your fingers brushing against your still warm cheek. You can't undo what happened. I only need to know it won't happen again. It won't, she said firmly, reaching out, but pausing, waiting for your permission. When you didn't pull away, she gently placed her hand over yours. I can't promise I'll always handle things perfectly, but I will never let my anger hurt you like that again. You have to apologize to them. They were scared. I will. They deserve better. And so do you. You lean into her touch, letting the warmth of her hand soothe some of the lingering pain as she caressed your cheek. Arlecchino, we're supposed to be a team. Let me do my thing as well. All right. But you have to promise me one thing. And what's that? Don't ever stop fighting me when I'm wrong. Even if I hate it in that moment. She said, and you managed a small, shaky laugh, resting your forehead against hers. All right, then. Deal. And as the weight of the day slowly lifted, you realized that while the road to healing would not be easy, it was one you'd walk together. And although Arlecchino may not be perfect, at the very least, she was willing to try for your sake. And you definitely were not going to tolerate anything like that again. But you'll give her a chance, just this time.